when they teach art history from the 19th century, they usually do it in such a way that makes it seem that after they finish with realism, they immediately no after they finish with neoclassical, they immediately stopped doing neoclassical, and then they went directly to realism, and that's the only thing they did. And then Impressionism took over the art movement, and that was the only thing that the artists ever did. But the reality is that all of these movements, they were still continuing all throughout the 19th century. They didn't just, when Impressionism came about, they didn't just stop be doing whatever they were doing. They just continue on their flow. So all of these movements, they're like happening at the same time. It's not like one new thing came about and then they immediately stopped doing their stuff. So then, like, the first one that I wanted to show you is the Pre-Raphaelites. They started around the late 1700s, and then it continued all throughout the 19th century. And the perfect example for the art movement that I chose as a representative is the artwork of John William Waterhouse. And this guy, he painted as a Pre-Raphaelite all throughout the 19th century, and he even continued in that vogue even well into the early part of the 20th century. So basically, the Pre-Raphaelites, they seen that art went to hell as soon as Raphael came about. So then they paint so then that's what they call the Pre-Raphaelites. So then they paint in a way that they're painting the art forms that are not made by Raphael. So, and they also like color and like medieval subjects a lot. And among many of the subject matter that they love painting often is William Shakespeare, more specifically Hamlet or Ophelia. So you know that it's a Pre-Raphaelite painting if you see a crazy woman surrounded with a bunch of flowers near the river, and that's how Ophelia doing Ophelia things. And you can almost see here in the background like the maid silently judging her. But Ophelia is just doing Ophelia things. And another subject matter that the Pre-Raphaelites liked a lot is the Divine Comedy. So they would do a lot of Dante. They would cry. They would do Dante a lot, being, just going through different circles of hell. Alright, so let's see which way. Okay, it is, there we go. And now the next art movement that was also throughout this is made by this was the art movement that was that the scholars, that the academic people and like the salon and like the rich people and everyone academic art or neoclassical classical art started in the Renaissance, and then it got refined over time until the art historians started calling it neoclassical. But it's basically classical art, which is the Roman stuff, So then over here it's called the Roses or the Heliobalos. It's a historical subject, just the Romans cheering wow. And like playing flutes, the Romans doing Roman stuff, or the Greeks doing Greek stuff, in like a classical setting, and lots of stuff. So they also like historical paintings, landscape still, just think about as vanilla as you can, female nudes and what. Just think of like the more. And also. I already mentioned historical paintings, right? And also, portraits, just what you were expected to paint in order to be considered a true painter. In order to be considered like a true painter and what, just what they would teach you at school. This is neoclassical, yeah? Or classical art, the neon potato. So so neoclassical didn't disappear when the Impressionists started. As a matter of fact, they made a dear business to make certain that every Impressionist painter was in the poorhouse. And they succeeded in that very, very well because like most of the impressionist, like the impressionist paintings is still alive these days, but when they were alive, these guys were responsible for making certain that they only made like 20 francs, 30 francs for each of their paintings. So yeah, these ones are technically the bad guy art, you know, for keeping down the little guy, but the what?
Illuminati art.
The Illuminati art, whatever. That was just a joke that my brother wanted to me to throw in there. Okay, so yeah. Neoclassical. And this one is the painter is Lawrence Tadema, Sir Lawrence Tadema. So he got knighted for his artwork, for his neoclassical art. Alright, so then this one is basically realism. And this guy, and I shows Gustave Courbet. He's the one that they teach you in all of the schools and whatnot he's the one that started the whole realism trend, more or less. Which is basically, just as the name says, is rendering reality without any ornamentation and whatnot. And they were also concerned with like social problems and whatnot. So they would also paint the plight of the proletarian, to put it in layman's terms. So then this is a self-portrait of the artist, you know, and then as the desperate man, that's how he titled it, and then he just can't stand the rain or what he's looking at. So then, you know, just painting crude reality and whatnot. And like some of his nudes, obviously I can't show it because like YouTube and whatnot, but you should look them up. You should look at his female nudes. Especially they're hilarious. So yeah, rendering of crude reality and whatnot. So here's the other art movement that was also going on at the time. That was still going on is Romanticism. Like people say, oh, is it still running back there?
Yeah, still running.
Oh, yeah, because like I don't want to the internet. My internet's been rather funky. So yeah, Romanticism, like they act like Romanticism ended in the 17th century, in the 18th century, but this guy David Caspar Friedrich, he was still painting romanticist art well into the 19th century. So Romanticism didn't die when Neoclassical came about. So like Romanticism was made as a reaction to like Neoclassical art because they thought that they were getting a little too Greek with their art. So then they wanted more of a return to like wholesome religious values and whatnot. And they also like to paint nature in like epidramatic form, you know, in an epidramatic form. Like it's not just a landscape or making a landscape in order to like teach you about the Bible or something. They just say nature is awesome and like crazy, and we should illustrate that. So then here's the Wanderer. And some people even speculate that that's actually a self-portrait of the artist, you know, just him painting his bag and what he's seeing, you know. And like because like Friedrich, he spent a lot of time in like nature painting stuff, and and that's why all of his paintings have a certain degree of solitude about him, because Friedrich was like a very solitary man that he also suffered from chronic depression, and his friends used to worry a lot about him because he would just isolate himself in the mountains to painting, and like was just avoiding human contact altogether because he was just, well, there were medicines for him back then. So yeah, it's just sad. Okay, moving along. Let's move past Romanticism. Alright, so then here we have obviously the Impressionists or Post-Impressionists, potato. So yeah, and this is Renoir, one of my favorite. Like I love Renoir. I like all of the Impressionist artists. Renoir is like my favorite. So then you know, they were interested in painting, in the study of life. So then they started like the complementary colors and whatnot, and so then, they were maybe interested in the study and painting unconventional subjects. And most of the time they like to paint like Paris life. And, oh, here's a perfect example, then just like chilling at a restaurant, and after going rolling for a bit. And you see this woman with like the doggo, this one here? Like I read in one of Rena's biography that he ended up marrying this woman that's making googly faces at the doggo. So that's why she's very well defined, because this chick is gonna be future Mrs. Renoir. I guess you're not like one of those women that like tied to their dog as if it was a baby. Well, you can almost hear her saying that to her dog, talking cutesy to her dog. So yeah, the Impressionists. And they also did like landscapes and whatnot, but very rarely you will see like an Impressionist artwork, something that would be, like religious subjects. Well, except if you're Van Gogh. Van Gogh like will sometimes paint like religious stuff. But then again, Van Gogh spent a time as a priest, as a priest. So obviously, religion is going to show up in his work whether he wants to or not, because you can take the habit out of the monk, but you can't get the habit,
Yeah. Plus, his final painting was a religious painting.
Yeah, painting. One of his last painting was he painted a church.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah. But yeah, most there's not a lot of, most of them just like to paint like other landscapes at different times of the day, or people in Paris doing Paris stuff, like leisure stuff, just hanging out and chilling, painting reality as there's a slight bit of realism and whatnot. Painting reality as it is and whatnot. It's almost just like a snapshot of a photograph, because everyone is like in motion doing something. But yeah. And the next art movement that was also going on in the 19th century is Expressionism. And I chose Munch because he's like the best example of an expressionist painter. It's basically you paint art not to draw, not to show what it is, but to try to get an emotion out of you. And the emotion that he's expressing is pure and utter terror. So it's like the scream. And obviously Edward Munch suffered a lot because like a lot of his family like dropped dead, and they even speculated that he had like a mental illness and whatnot, when undiagnosed schizophrenia and whatnot, or social anxiety. And you can see all of that in the painting and whatnot, just a painting done by somebody suffering a mental illness. And then he's trying to show the viewer what he's going to expression, trying to express an emotion, to try to elicit an emotion out of the viewer. But yeah. Alright, so then another art movement that was like going on during this time is, Gauguin falls under Impressionism, but they call his hour more of Primitivism, which is basically drawing from motifs or like subject matter from like people of different regions and whatnot, or if you're Rousseau, just painting like you never painted before in your life, which was true for that painter. So just making it rather rustic, almost as if you're trying to mimic like a cave painting, just making it, and then steering as far away as possible from subject matters related to the Europeans. But
Hey, that painting that we saw the other day of the Native American making a painting, would that fall under this category?
Well, yeah, kind of, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because he's trying to steer away as much as possible from European subjects, But not paying, but this is different from Orientalism, because he just literally Gauguin went to Tahiti and he literally painted what was right in front of him, just just some Tahitian woman just like chilling there. One of them is like ironing a dress. The other one just picked up some fruit and then just sitting down, just painting it as it is, not like trying to make a glamorized version of what the Europeans think that the Tahitians should look to them, like which is what the Orientalism was all about, just painting a glamorized version, to sell the Orient in a package in a way that a European racist would understand.
Yeah, basically when Van Gogh would draw his anime face, it would be an Orientalist face because it's not really showing.
Well, Japanese.
Yeah, Japanese risk.
Like Orientalism, yeah, but basically if it's not Western, yeah. Okay, so yeah, Primitivism was going on. Alright, and the last movement that was getting started, that was like going on in the 19th century is Art Nouveau, which is like decorative art, and they liked a lot those flowery patterns and whatnot, and most of it is just fanciful looking advertising, because advertising became a bigger deal as with like the industrial revolution finally kicking into high gear in like the 19th century. So it's just basically making art for like the consumer. So then they would like paint posters, they would make posters a lot. And the best example of this is Alphonse Mucha.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Henry Letouche-Lautrec.
Well, he too. He also falls under Art Deco when he's making fanciful posters and whatnot. And and obviously Gustav Klimt, when he finally got out of his academy, when he finally left the academy, he decided that I'm just gonna paint whatever the hell I feel like. I am too rich for this. Screw you, and I will paint whatever I want.
And I will put gold all over my paintings because I got it.
Yeah. So that's the last art movement that was going on in the 19th century, going along with all of the other art movements at the same time. It's not like one thing started and then everyone started doing Art Deco. No. Everyone's doing their own thing at the same time while other people were doing their own thing. Yeah. So I hope you found this educational and whatnot. Bye bye and God bless.